The Florida Panthers continue their winning ways as they finish the home stand strong against the Detroit Red Wings. Now the Florida Panthers take their show on the road on a quick two-game road trip up in the Northeast. We're going to discuss Saturday's game and more on this edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast.
Your Locked On Panthers, your daily podcast on the Florida Panthers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome to this Monday, March 7th edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Let me introduce myself. My name is Armando. You can follow me on Twitter at MondoMan12. Follow the show account on Twitter at LO_FLA Panthers. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen today. You can also follow the national show, Locked On NHL, and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark will be covering all the regular season activities around the National Hockey League. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, body of work. That's the best way to say it, with how the Florida Panthers have been able to recover after dropping their first three games in this homestand against Edmonton, Columbus, and Nashville. Find a way to beat up on some of their division rivals, two division rivals that are rebuilding in Ottawa and Detroit. We broke down the game against Ottawa on Thursday night with Nick Fairbanks on that Fairbanks Friday. And just Florida continuing to dominate possession, helping out their goaltender by not creating opportunities the other way. I mean, there was a point where the Detroit Red Wings went around 11 to 12 minutes without a shot on goal. And that's a big credit to the Florida Panthers and what they continue to do, getting a stick in the way of a passing lane, creating a takeaway, going the other way. I mean, in this one, just takeaways in general. I mean, 18-6 in favor of the Florida Panthers against Detroit. So that alone, creating opportunities on the other line, on the other end, chasing another goalie. Something that the broadcast mentioned is how many times they've been able to chase a goalie, and that's something that I haven't really tallied as far as how many times they've done it. But good to know that it's 12 times out of 55 games that the Florida Panthers have been able to chase a goalie, and that's maybe about like 20% almost in their games of how many times it's happened. So that's a big percentage of the season that the Florida Panthers have done that to opposing goaltenders. And just the continuation of the power play, 3 straight games now, 2 power play goals in each of the last 3, and it's multiple units doing it. It's the first unit. The second unit got both power play goals on Thursday. This time around on Saturday, they got one from each unit. Multiple power play opportunities as well. They take advantage of the inexperience that's on the side of the Detroit Red Wings. Not as many penalty infraction minutes as Ottawa on Thursday, but still taking advantage of it while you can. 2 for 3 on the power play in that one. And that's likely gonna raise their it's going to raise their league average to where the power play is at. They're still around like 14th in the NHL at 21%, but still it's a work in progress and something that the Florida Panthers they're after coming off a losing skid and having those type of performance. Sure, we see who the opponents are. We know they're rebuilding, but still, the Florida Panthers did not have letdowns in any of these games. And that is what we need to take away most out of the last 2. And doing it at a place they're comfortable in, too. I mean, Yes, they doubled the amount of losses just in this homestand at home alone in the whole season. But how you recover, the fact that it came at this point of the season, and the point pace once again is at a point where it was last season, where they're still on pace to still finish around. Right now it's about still the 115, 120 mark where the Florida Panthers are expected to finish as far as their pace. But still, the opportunity to recover after losses previously is just continuing to show the character of this Panthers team, and still doing it mostly with one goaltender as well, because even though Jonas Johansson had one start against the Columbus Blue Jackets, Sergei Bobrovsky has been carrying the load most of this time. The save percentage hasn't been there for Bob in the last 10 games, but the Panthers, with their dominant possession and even giving Bobrovsky an opportunity to not face a lot of shots. I mean, yeah, 18 saves and for a shutout in on Thursday against Ottawa, but still, the Sergei Bobrovsky is making some of the saves when he needs it most, helping his team win. And that, even though the save percentage isn't the best, I mean, we talked about the previous road trip in Minnesota, Chicago, and Carolina, how even when he didn't face a lot of shots, there were some questionable goals let out. But Bobrovsky has been able to make the saves when needed to most. And the fact that some wins are coming out of it and the offensive firepower is coming out of it too, Bobrovsky just needs to some make the saves when he needs to, and he has been able to do that these last two games, despite not a lot of shots on goal against them, and the faceoffs has been better. The other game where the Florida Panthers down circle 64-36 on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings, and they just continue to find a way to beat up on teams that they're on paper better than. So that for you guys, the Florida Panthers fan, myself as well, it's a blessing to watch a team that's able to bounce back after some adversity in the season. And every team is going to go through some adversity in this season. But we're going to break down more of this 6-2 win over the Detroit Red Wings. But first, we're going to talk to you all about Athletic Greens. And sometimes people don't have time and they want to better their gut health. They want more energy and optimize their immune system. But that's why Athletic Greens is here. Some people hate taking pills and want a supplement that actually tastes great and want to see what the hype is about. And so that's why people choose Athletic Greens. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens to help you start the day right. This special blend of ingredients support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially with heading into flu and cold season. It's just one scoop of cold water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look after your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Back here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, and thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. And for your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. It's nightly recaps of every NHL games with analysis from our local expert. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. So the lines against the Detroit Red Wings went a little bit like this: Verhaeghe, Barkov, Marchment, Jonathan Huberdeau, Sam Bennett, Anthony Duclair, Frank Vetrano, Anton Lundell, Sam Reinhart, Eetu Luostarinen, Noel Acciari, and Patrick Hornquist on the fourth line. And one thing that I like about the fourth line with Achari at center and Luosterainen on the wing is that you can interchange one. One faces off left-handed, one faces off right-handed. So you have two players who use different sides for that when it comes to that. And Ryan Lomberg was a scratch in this one, and then missed practice the next day as a maintenance day, and then later placed on injured reserve. And you could put two and two together. That scuffle against the Ottawa Senators against Josh Brown might have hurt him uh, physically and put on injured reserve. Pateri Limbaum is now on the active roster for the Florida Panthers. Olio Levy has been placed on waivers and picked up by the Detroit Red Wings. So Olio Levy is no longer a part of the Florida Panthers, and Spencer Knight has been recalled as part of this back-to-back road trip against the Buffalo Sabres and Pittsburgh Penguins. So we won't find out who starts until later today. But those are the forward lines for the Panthers. Defensive pairings: Mackenzie Weegar, Aaron Ekblad, Gus Forsling, Radko Gudas, Lucas Carlson, we'll talk about him later, and Brandon Montour. So, man, the Panthers, they just continue, like I said, dominating possession. I mean, shots on goal in this one in just the first period alone. It looks a little bit like this: 16-9 in favor of the Florida Panthers. I mean, resulting in 3 goals in this one, 2 of them on the power play. And when it comes to Lundell, when it comes to Mort Seider and Lucas Raymond, the Calder race, I mean, Anton Lundell didn't play in their previous matchup. Anton Lundell was about out a week at that point in the season, early on, and missed the first matchup. And Moritz Seider was the only person who had a point in that one. Lucas Raymond has 0 points in 2 games against the Florida Panthers, and Anton Lundell has doubled the amount of points in both matchups while missing one. So a good case for Anton Lundell, definitely, as he makes his race for the Calder. Is a 2-game sample size against a team that you're facing up against and 2 players in the Calder race going to really make a difference? I don't think so, but still, it's a good kind of bragging rights for the Florida Panthers and their rookie sensation Anton Lundell to you know to show the Detroit Red Wings, like, hey, we got this very special player in the same draft as Lucas Raymond. Just 8 picks after Lucas Raymond. He was 4th overall in that draft in 2020. And Mort Seider lost a little bit of Mason Marchment. I mean, just look at the play for the first goal. Mason Marchment, immediately after the faceoff is won, he goes straight to the net. Nobody gets to the net. No defender gets around to help Thomas Greiss. And Thomas Greiss, the Panthers have had a hard time historically against Thomas Greiss, especially when he was in New York in 2016. They get to him for 5 goals in this one. And the Detroit Red Wings didn't really help him out much. I mean, like I said, after the faceoff, Barkov wins the faceoff. Mackenzie Weegar shoots it to the net, rebound. Nobody's around Mason Marchment to break the puck away or to clear the zone. And Mason Marchment just gets it in, continues his incredible points per 60 minute that he's on, leading the team in that category, just using his limited amount of ice time to continuously contribute. And this is something that Jacob Winans and I spoke about off camera. I had the pleasure of watching Saturday night's game with Jacob Winans, the Wednesday guest host of Locked On Panthers, and we spoke a little bit about how chances are Mason Marchment is going to get paid this offseason by someone. And it might not be the Florida Panthers who might be able to afford him, but the Florida Panthers and his play, he's earning himself a payday this offseason because someone's going to step up to the plate, using a baseball reference, to pay Mason Marchment what he wants and maybe get a $3-4 million deal. I mean, the Panthers are going to be a little cap strapped next season, and they still got to pay Huberdeau for the next season after that, and Weegar. So it's going to be a little bit hard to keep someone like Mason Marchment, but still improving his game consistently and just someone who's extremely gritty. The Detroit Red Wings, they tied up shortly after. Robbie Fabry tips it in on a shot by DeKaiser. Bob had literally no chance to react on that one. And just a beautiful positioning. And Anton Lundell, he's going to be mentioned quite a bit on this one. 2 goals in this one. But even before he scored, I mean, just challenged Grice early on a rebound, and then a breakaway later on in that first period as he continued to like really hammer it on and try to like get one past Grice. I mean, he led the team in 7 shots on goal in this one. The closest other Panther as far as shots on goal was Aaron Ekblad with 4. So just Anton Lundell was just trying to find, just feeling it all game. Jonathan Huberdeau, there's one defensive play that I really like from Jonathan Huberdeau. The Red Wings were all alone on Sergei Bobrovsky, and then Jonathan Huberdeau dives to get his stick out of the way, and then the Florida Panthers nearly escaped the zone. And then there's a point also that Jonathan Huberdeau looked like he was going to fake the Michigan, but he didn't even do anything about it or make a pass. I think he turned it over in that one. And also going back to Mason Marchment, drawing that penalty against Dylan Larkin, just you need that guy on your team. This might be the wrong word to use. Who's going to be annoying to the other team? Like get in their face, make a hard hit, and make them uncomfortable. I mean, Ryan Lomberg's that person for the Panthers. Mason Marchment as well is that person. And just Mason Marchment annoying Dylan Larkin, and then the retaliation. Refs catch the retaliation. Dylan Larkin goes to the box. The scramble for the puck at top of the point during their power play, everybody's eyes is on Barkov, that when he gets to Sam Reinhart, people are trying to catch up to him. Oh no, get to Duke and a rocket off of one-timer to make it 2-1. And power play goals. The Florida Panthers, they continuing to add and tally on the power play. And yes, Mason Marchment, he's gonna create some penalties for you, being annoying. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but he's also gonna take a few. He had one as well on a slash. But Bobrovsky as well set the tone early, even though it was a 2-1 lead at one point. Had a big stop on Dylan Larkin in the middle of the first period as well. And just there's a point where the Florida Panthers had 4 seconds of 5-on-3. That's when really started to hit the fan, when Detroit went on 2 straight power plays, penalties kills, and the Florida Panthers cash in once again. And Lundell, that was a goal where not the way you script it, but attempting a pass, it bounces off a Detroit Red Wings player and into the net. You take it. And Lundell just finding a way to get one in after a breakaway opportunity earlier and being stopped. You take that weird bounce of the puck, and the Florida Panthers go into the first intermission up 3-1, and it was about to be 4-1 earlier in the second period. I mean, Grice gets a puck that through his legs, and then the Kaiser like clears it right on the line, and the Florida Panthers, Jonathan Huberdeau, he just continues to just create things out of nothing. A board battle, one, and just getting the puck through someone's legs to Bennett, goes backhand forehand to make it 4-1. And I just smiled and just saw the magician that is Jonathan Huberdeau just creating a play. And again, the shot on goal differential, I try to do it at least through 10 minutes to see where the shot on goal differential is in each period. And through 10 minutes, 22-11 advantage. That's pretty much the halfway point of the game too, the 30-minute mark. 6-2 in that period in favor of Florida, just constantly dominating, and offensive zone time as well. At the end of the second period, have this written down, just 11 minutes of offensive zone time to 6 over the Red Wings. And just the Panthers just and another goal, which was unlikely. Just the Red Wings found a way to shoot themselves in the foot, But this was a goal that I thought Thomas Greiss could have saved, but you don't you don't complain. You don't complain on the way Lucas Carlson was able to skate through the defense and then get one past Thomas Greiss short side. And that, you take it. And Lucas Carlson, part of the Brett Connolly, Henrik Borgstrom trade, getting a seventh round pick in order to get Lucas Carlson, which didn't make much of that trade at the time, but looks like that Lucas Carlson is a great addition as the seventh defenseman on this team. Wondering what it's going to look like with Petteri Lindbaum coming into the mix, but to put him in and out of the lineup too, um, kind of helping him grow his game a little bit. I mean, we saw, of course, the defensive play against the Carolina Hurricanes where he stops two shots in a matter of a 5-second time in Carolina, and just continuing to grow as a human being and grow as a hockey player. And that coast to coast is a great confidence booster. And I also think that with the with Henrik Borgstrom, apparently Henrik Borgstrom as well is looking to be traded from the Chicago Blackhawks after being traded there last season at the deadline. That the Blackhawks are looking to move Henrik Borgstrom, and I'm just like, man, just the story of Henrik Borgstrom after being drafted, someone who Florida Panther fans have been very hopeful for, just could have gotten more value from Henrik Borgstrom earlier in his career. I mean, we talk about a Mark Stone trade possibly, and Dale Talon not wanting to put Henrik Borgstrom as part of a package for Mark Stone, and just could have gotten better value out of that. And just seeing how this trade, I mean, the Florida Panthers were able to clear salary cap room with Brett Connolly being off the books. So not a bad trade for the Panthers, but could have gotten something better out of the situation with Henrik Borgstrom when he was on the Florida Panthers, and of course him leaving to Liga and HIFK where he played with Anton Lindell, and then never seeing the ice for the Florida Panthers again. But still, the Florida Panthers bring in Lucas Carlson, and he's been someone who's learned a lot under this. I don't know what his long-term plans on the team are, but still, so far so good of what we see out of Lucas Carlson. And I also want to give a special shout out as well to Sam Reinhart, creating a turnover for the sixth goal, getting it to Frank Vatrano, and then finding Anton Lindell for his second of the night. Was on hat trick watch after the 16-13 mark of the second period. And just, even though Ned only let in one goal, I mean, the Detroit Red Wings just gave a lot of opportunities for the Florida Panthers in that the rest of that second period, and then over the next third, because just the amount of shots on goal that Detroit was facing. I mean, after the second period, I mean, faceoffs were 2/3 Florida in favor of Florida. So just continuing on that, and not much to talk about of the third period. Like I said, the Detroit Red Wings went about 11 minutes without a shot on goal. The Florida Panthers kept attacking in the third period, but to no avail. And Tyler Bertuzzi gets one to bring it at least to 6-2. But the Florida Panthers, they just really played to we heard we want 10 chance, but the Florida Panthers weren't trying to score 10. They were just trying to just make sure that the Detroit Red Wings were not catching up in any shape or form. But the Florida Panthers, they were able to manage more of the minutes as well as they grow a lead. And that's the good thing about picking up leads early in the game or in the middle of the game. It gives Andrew Burnett a little bit of time to manage his superstars' minutes, so they're not taxed as the season goes on. And that's a good thing for this Florida Panthers team as they continue to try to build on what they've accomplished. Just 37 wins. Now retake the lead on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sure, points percentage have the Tampa Bay Lightning ahead of the Panthers, but still, the race is on. The Florida Panthers winning these last 2 games and then heading into this back-to-back, they'll really have to show what they're made of on as they continue to try to get some success on the road, and just 2 more road games and then a home game and then a West Coast trip. And just be ready. The Florida Panthers are going to be really tested as they take their show on the road. But speaking of taking the show on the road, we're going to talk about the next few games again for the Florida Panthers as they start a quick 2-game trip in the Northeast against Buffalo and Pittsburgh. But first, we're going to tell you all about BetOnline. Football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And this episode is also brought to you by Built Bar. This is the time of year where I've given up on all my New Year's resolution, but not this year. I'm sticking my resolution to eat right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried the Puffs? If you haven't, then you're missing out on Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, marshmallow-y. They're not just a protein bar. They're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy, cinnamony, churro, chocolate marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good. These are going to be your new favorite. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bar with these. They're better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Go to Built.com and scroll down to the macros chart and you'll be blown away. High protein, low calorie, high fiber, low carb. At Built Bar, they're all about taste. They make it delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time. Go to Built.com and use promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. Third and final segment here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast as the Florida Panthers came off a 6-2 victory over Detroit Red Wings at home at FLA Live Arena. Now, the Florida Panthers only have like one home game in their next one home game in their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 home games. So a lot of road games coming up for the Panthers. After Thursday's game against Philly, their next home game won't be until March 29th against the Montreal Canadiens. But in between all that, quick 2-game trip, back-to-back, a West Coast trip, and then a Canadian trip with 5 days off, in between all that. So the Panthers will get a lot of game action in a short amount of time, but they'll also get rest in between. So the Florida Panthers will be facing off against Buffalo tonight at KeyBank Center. Let's not forget the last time these two teams faced off. It was one of the 3-goal comebacks for the Cats. I mean, the 3-0 after the first period, and then Lucas Carlson was that was his first goal as a Panther. Down 3-0, down 4-1, and the Florida Panthers after that score 6 unanswered, and that was the same week that they did that again against the Washington Capitals too. So that was just a crazy week for the Florida Panthers. At the time, the Buffalo Sabres were having COVID issues with their goalies, so they had to call up Aaron Dell, who's now not on the team right now, after being placed on waivers after injuring Drake Batherson of the Ottawa Senators. He hasn't been back in the lineup since. But the Panthers, they have a great opportunity to take advantage of one of the teams who were scheduled to be one of the worst in all of the NHL. I mean, mid-20s in both goals for and goals against. Penalty kill in the 20s as well. Power play is a little better. It's about average, spending around like 20%, good for 17th in the NHL. So the Florida Panthers, this is a continuing this is a no excuses game for the Panthers coming up on this game against the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, Jeff Skinner and Tage Thompson lead the way with 23 goals each. And Rasmus Dahlin, former number one overall pick for the Buffalo Sabres, leading the way with assists as well. So the the Buffalo Sabres, they're going to get Owen Power next year. They're going to get some of their prospects that they got from the Jack Eichel trade this season into their lineup as well in the next few seasons. So still a few years ahead. Still a few years away from becoming a contender. They're not at the level of where Detroit and Ottawa are, where they're in the next step of their rebuild. They're at the very, very beginning of theirs. And this is the time where the Florida Panthers, with 3 matchups left against this Buffalo Sabres team, they'll have one more matchup at FLA Live Arena and then another road matchup against Buffalo later this season. So got to take advantage of this while you can. And I'm going to guess that it's going to be Spencer Knight who starts against the Buffalo Sabres. And then Bobrovsky will be between the pipes in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Spencer Knight did get the first start of the season on the road against Pittsburgh. When the Panthers lost in a shootout, Bobrovsky started the first game against Pittsburgh on opening night. So I'm going to guess it's going to be Spencer Knight tonight and then Sergei Bobrovsky on Tuesday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Florida Panthers do have an 11:30 a.m. morning skate. Andrew Burnett will be speaking to the media following the morning skate on who will be starting in net and anything else injury related regarding the Florida Panthers and any roster moves as well. Like I said, Oli Olevi has been claimed off of waivers from the Detroit Red Wings. Petteri Lindbaum is in the mix for the Panthers. Ryan Lomberg's on injury reserve, not LTIR, injury reserve, which now the Florida Panthers can bring back Spencer Knight, and they're still carrying 3 goaltenders. Let's not forget that they're carrying 3 now. They're still carrying 3 with Spencer Knight coming around. So still a decision to be made by the Florida Panthers and company about Jonas Johansson's future for the Florida Panthers. So we'll be monitoring that. We'll be talking more about all that. We'll be back tomorrow to break down this game against the Buffalo Sabres and then preview Tuesday's matchup against the Pittsburgh Penguins. But in the meantime, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast to be notified every single time the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast jumps into your podcast feed. Make sure to subscribe to Locked On NHL and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark, who will be covering all the regular season activities around the National Hockey League. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. And for your second listen of the day, make sure to listen to today's episode of Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Hosts Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. So I'm Armando Velez, signing off. And you've been listening to the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day.